Hello everybody and welcome to day 15 of the Rogue Tanks devlog. I'm going to show you what I've made that's new, and then I'll go into the code of how I did it. Text up here, you'll see as I go into the next screen, it now condenses into the middle here, because before it was kind of like just getting cut off by the boxes here. So if I'm going to like 4 players, it's now like in the middle and it says choose your vehicle. Also, I've added the cursor controls. So up here it says what my input device is. So keyboard and mouse is player 1. As you can see, the gamepad 2 down here. You'll notice my mouse does not select tanks for other players, just for me. And if I back out, I can change my input, make that player 1. So player 2 is keyboard and mouse. And now it's only on player 2 because whoever is using keyboard and mouse, and I'll show you how I made all that work. So the normal tank, it shows what my aim type is, and I changed the button to left bumper. Well, it's not even left bumper, that's also a typo, it's left trigger. And so my normal stick direction aiming looks like that. If I just simply press the left bumper now, it puts my cursor back on screen, so I will always shoot towards the cursor, and I can basically switch with the press of a button, which is what I thought I would do last video. I guess there could be some advanced strategy or something if you want to, like, if you're shooting far away, you could double tap it and put the cursor right back on your tank, because that's what happens. Mainly, if your cursor goes off screen and you lose track of it, instead of scrolling it all the way back, you can just tap the cursor button twice and it would bring it back to you. Because tapping it once just switches you back to manual point and shoot, where hitting it again puts the cursor back in screen. Besides that, I've also added the versus mode. This is the select screen. You can see it says battle number up here, battle number 1. If I just go into here and defeat the other player, then the winning player gets to pick an upgrade, bullet bounce. And it comes back to this screen, and we pick another level. It said battle 2 at the top there also, if you didn't pick that up. And if I beat the other player, then I'll get to pick another upgrade. And now it says battle number 3. In fact, let me go ahead and let the other player win. And now I get to pick a reload time. That's battle number 4. It just kind of tracks how many battles you've done. So player 1 still has the upgrades that they picked. As you can see, I still have my bullet bounce. That required me to... I basically used the revive command on all players, and it revives the players that existed before. So when you make a player, I did just have like the preset colors in before, so I had to update this to be create the tank with this color, with this bullet type, you know, because now I have different tanks, so the bullet type is what the tank is. If versus mode, armor will equal 3, because in the campaign mode, when you revive a player, they start with just 1 armor point, but in versus mode, we're just going to default to 3. I'm thinking about having versus settings. Basically, you can customize the versus matches to change it to where maybe each player just has 1 armor all the time at the start of a match, or 3, or more, maybe 5 or something like that. I'm also thinking about how the upgrade system works, because right now the upgrade goes to the winner. So there's only 1 winner, only 1 upgrade. Now, in that case, I guess it means all the players that lost would probably team up on the winning player because they now have an upgrade. They don't want to get another upgrade. That would be the smart thing for them all to do. And I figure if you're going to, or going toward, like, whoever gets to like 10 wins first or something like that, then it makes sense that everyone would team up on the player in the lead. I do need to add like the player's scores or something to that room select or something, just so everybody can remember who's in the lead, you know? The versus mode needs a lot of work still. So if I'm in versus mode, it just automatically removes all the enemies from the room. What we have here is if versus mode is true, basically, and if you're not on a tile screen, meaning you're in a battle room, then when the fading, like when you're done doing the fade out, then menu level becomes versus level, which is that level select screen, and go to the title screen, or title room, really, because that's where all the like main menu stuff happens. So then, if that's not true, meaning you are on a title screen, then when you're done fading out, your menu level should be none, meaning you're no longer in a menu, and you go to that versus room where you just picked on the versus cursor. Any input device can basically choose a level, which is fine. That's just the way I have it, where any input device can operate on the main menu. In versus mode, there is no armor plus upgrade. The way I did it is that if versus mode, and it checks the upgrade data array, if it has plus armor in there, then delete that spot. It should be slot 5, like it should always be that slot. I don't know if there's like a cleaner way to do that, but the way I have it set up is that the upgrade data is always like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is always plus armor. So if you're in versus mode, it'll automatically remove the armor upgrade from the list if it's there. But if you're not in versus mode, it will then just reset what that upgrade data is to make sure that the armor is always in there. And if you unlocked the power upgrade in your last run, then it'll be added then too. The way I have each box separated out is basically all this code really is the same, like the X and Y coordinates are the exact same. And for each section, I just change what that reference point is. So that _X point is set to 600 less than the default. When I get to player 2, it's then 800 plus, which moves it over to the right, you know, and then when I get to player 3, it moves back to the left and also drops down. And then when I get to player 4, it just moves over to the right again. That makes it easier that I can just like use this exact same code over again. I did have to change all the P1 into P4, so anything that references player 1 then has to get changed to like player 4 or player 3. The way that I did the mouse controls, how I limited it to whoever has the mouse input, is right here when I'm getting the player input. If the player input is keyboard and mouse, then I also have in here finding the mouse position, check to see the mouse's vertical position if it's within this area, which is box 1 for player 1. Then I check the horizontal position to determine where the cursor should be. And then I have that duplicated for like the second player. And it's got different, you know, X and Y positions. But it's in here when it's getting the player's input. Because like if it's not keyboard and mouse, then it uses all these gamepad inputs and it does all this stuff. So, I mean, the player can still use the keyboard to select their tank, but they can also use the mouse because of these conditions here. And these numbers I just had to get from like testing basically. I mean, I knew my tanks were like 80 spots away. I guess it would be pixels. Is this pixels? So these are all separated by 80s, like 120 to 200, like that's the difference of 80. I just knew how far apart my tanks were from the draw step of it. Yeah, plus 80, plus 160, plus 240. So I mean, I don't use those exact numbers because those points in the draw are like the center of the sprite. Where here, I'm looking for the left side, so I have it like starting at 40 instead of starting at 80. Turns out that's where it works best. The next thing I'll do is make that fourth tank, which I think will use the 2 different aim types as well. If I get it made, hopefully it'll be in the next video. But if you have any other questions about anything that I've done here, let me know in the comments below and I'll answer with more specifics on how I did it, or if necessary, I'll even make another video just to outline how I did something. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.